Some TV shows are so popular they have their own weekly podcasts. Like the one all about a Canadian series entering its 20th season, we have the hosts next on Brio TV, the podcast. Hi there. Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Bill Brio. Over the last 7 years, I've welcomed many of the stars and others behind the scenes on the CBC hit Murdoch Mysteries. Well, now there's a podcast completely devoted to that series called, get this, the Murdoch Mysteries Podcast. The biggest mystery, however, may be the names of the two hosts. For 30 years, Jason Mewes has been featured in several Kevin Smith films, such as Clerks, and especially as the vocal half of the Jay and Silent Bob films. Frequently on the scene at various Comic-Cons, this fan of such 70s and 80s detective shows such as Columbo and Matlock was turned on to Murdoch by his pal, Matt Goehring. Mewes was instantly hooked and binged 18 seasons of Murdoch, over 300 episodes in about 6 months. He even got himself booked on an episode as Slippery Bill Watson and acted opposite Yannick Besson. The New Jersey native has already snuck onto such other CanCon faves as Degrassi, The Next Generation, and Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, if you remember that one. Now, he and Matt host a podcast all about the Toronto-based historical drama, which Mewes calls a cross between Sherlock Holmes and Back to the Future. Here they are, Jason Mewes and Matt Goehring. My name is Bill Brio. I've been writing about TV in Canada for 40 years and started way back at TV Guide, and been a fan of Murdoch Mysteries for almost 20 years, right? Like you guys. So it's a pleasure to talk to you. And I love your podcast. Wow. It's really... Holy smokes, hats off. I just me and a microphone. You guys have, it's like you're making a documentary every episode. It's incredible, really.
You know what? Thankfully for the team, Matt did a lot of work on it, and Raz from Shaftesbury, like the two of them really put together all those worksheets and like different segments, and they did a great job. So they were really prepared. I wasn't as prepared as them. But
well, honestly, hats off. I watched the episode with Paul Sun-Hyung Lee that just went up yesterday on May the 4th, nicely placed. And oh my goodness, he would be talking about Han Solo, and there would be a clip from Star Wars, and then there would be a comic book from the, like I just was, that is hard to do, like to really react in the moment to what people are saying in a podcast. It's a lot of work. So hats off to your team who are behind all of that.
Yeah, no, they were great. Everyone's been great. Everyone we worked with, even like the social media team, like they have, they had people there. So like when we had our guests there, we could like do some like videos to throw up on social media to promote the podcast and everything. They really went above and beyond. It was all amazing. And it just came from an idea. So Matt, I don't know the backstory, if you know, Matt,
let's hear it. Yeah.
Introduced like, so you said, you had just said, I was going to ask you is, you said you've been watching, so you remember you've been watching it from when it first came out, like pretty much almost 18, 19 years ago or what have you? Yeah,
I did. I watched it. I would cover the show in Canada. Originally, it was on City TV, as you guys know, I'm sure. And it was hilarious. I would go to the upfronts in Toronto when they would do the new season, and they would bring talent in from all these American shows, Law and Order or whatever that City had booked. And the one Canadian in the room was Yannick Besson, right?
Yeah.
He was there representing a homegrown television on that platform. And so it really had a fan base always, but exploded when it moved over to CBC in terms of viewers. So it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to mention is because Matt, about 2 years ago, excuse me, about 2 years ago was like, hey, I know you're a big fan of like Murder, She Wrote and Matlock and
Yeah.
Columbo. He's like, you have to watch his show, Murdoch Mysteries. It's amazing. There's 18 seasons. At this point, there was like 18 seasons. And he's like, if you like it, you can binge watch all of them. You're going to love it. And probably a month later, I started watching it and I fell in love and I binge watched it all in like 8 months or something like that. And then I went through and I started watching it all over again. And my wife, I worked on Degrassi,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and my wife remembered Ian from Degrassi. Ian is one of the producers on the show.
Right.
And he put a post up on Instagram of him and Yannick. And my wife said, "Oh my gosh, do you work on Murdoch or are you just friends with Yannick?" And he's like, "No, I work on the show now." And she's like, "Oh my God, Jay's such a huge fan." And then they were like, "Oh my God, he loves the show. Does he want to come up and play?" And Matt and I went up because I was like, "Matt, you got to come. We're gonna check out Murdoch Mysteries." And long story short, while we were up there, we were joking. We're like, "We should do a podcast. The show would be great. What a great show to do a podcast about." And they came back to us and was like, they love the idea. Like Christine loves the idea and wants to do it. So it all came together really fast and really out of like almost sort of joking, you know what I mean? And it's so much fun. It's been so much fun. It's so exciting. It's something out of all the things I'm doing, a show called Five Things. Kevin and I have something else that we're doing. The Murdoch podcast is like my favorite thing that I'm just like, I hope people watch it. I really want people to watch it and like it so we can do more.
Well, Jason, it's like you must be an honorary Canadian by now. You're in both taught in the Book of Pure Evil and Degrassi and Murdoch Mysteries. What's left? I mean, is there another Canadian show you're trolling for here, or what?
No, I don't. There actually isn't. Again, Murdoch would be my dream. Like, I'm hoping they'll let me come play again in season. If there's any more seasons, that I'll get to act in some more episodes. Because again, I love this show so much, and everyone there was so nice when we were there on set. And Matt can confirm. Like, I've been on a bunch of sets where people have been there for years, so they all know each other. And you're the new person on set, so they'll, on other sets they've been like, "Hey, welcome" and stuff, but they've been like, "Come in, check this out. Let's give you a tour." And so nice, nice.
I've been fortunate. Peter Mitchell, the showrunner, invited me on as a TV critic and snuck me into a couple of episodes, and my God, it was fun and nerve-wracking. And I just, as a TV critic, I'm just trying not to screw it up. But it was really wonderful to be in that environment. Now, Matthew, just explain how you guys have been friends for a long, long time, right? How did you guys meet? When did you guys get together?
Jason and I met during COVID, actually, when everybody was locked in their houses making bread. Him and I were playing video games and streaming on Twitch. We were doing a live stream. Or he was doing a live stream, and I just kind of I had experience with that sort of thing, so I started helping with his live stream. So we've been friends for about 6 years now. Yeah. 5-6 years. And Jason and I, one of the things that we connect on is our TV shows and video games. It's kind of one of the core commonalities between us. And my mother-in-law invited us to stay with her while we were doing a renovation in our house.
Yeah.
And she put on Murdoch Mysteries on Tubi, I believe it was, or Roku TV even.
Right.
She threw it on. She's like, "Oh man, you like Sherlock Holmes? This is a show that you're going to enjoy." So when I started watching it, I started binge watching it, and then Jason, I know, is a fan of Columbo and all sure he loves Sherlock Holmes, and so it was fun to be able to share that with him.
But explain. But Matt, is funny because like Matt said with COVID, we were online friends for a while. Like we really got to know each other. And I happened to be doing a comic convention and like close to where he was. And he came out to hang out, and me and him hit it off even more so in real life. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, "Man, do you want to come to the next one? The next one's going to be here, and I'll fly you out and you could come out." And so he came to the next convention with me. And we just start from there. We just hit it off even more. And then now we've been like every con. I'm like, "Do you want to come to every one?" So he comes with me, and we hang out at comic conventions a bunch. And then he lives about, was it 9 hours,
9
Matt?
hours. I'm in Northern California, yeah.
So the bummer is we don't get to hang out that much day by day, because even though in my head I'm like, he's in California, I'm in California, but I'm always like, come down, you're in California, and he's like, no, bro, it's 9 hours. So
well, it's amazing though. A lot of people who live in the same city who are friends don't see each other as often. You know what I mean? Like, even though one's in maybe Jersey or here or California, the fact that you guys have destinations where you like to get together, it kind of makes it a friendship that is just as frequent as anyone's, right?
True, very true.
Every other week we get to go on a little trip to a different city all over the United States. Sometimes Canada.
Yeah.
Sometimes we went to Liverpool last year, which was fun.
Wow. Beatles convention, or what was going on there?
Comic convention out there.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah, they're all comic conventions, but fun. We just were in El Paso, Texas, last weekend. This weekend that just passed, and we've done Fan Expo in Canada a couple times. So it is. It's been fun. And then again in Toronto for when we met to do the show. When I got to be in an episode on season 19.
Yeah. Slippery Bill Watson.
Yeah, Slippery Bill Watson. So
that's a great name.
I mean, and I was so again ecstatic. It's the Murdoch podcast, and getting to be in the show is really my favorite thing going on in life right now. And I'm trying to so I'm so glad. So I appreciate you reaching it, like us getting to do this interview, man. I really do.
I appreciate you.
He's not wearing that shirt. He's not wearing that shirt for this interview. He wears those shirts nonstop.
That's awesome. We'll be right back with the hosts of the Murdoch Mysteries Podcast in just a minute. May is set to be an adrenaline-fueled month on Paramount+. The excitement begins on May 15th with the global debut of Dutton Ranch. The Yellowstone sequel features fan favorites Beth and Rip as they gamble on a new life in South Texas. The momentum continues on May 21st with the return of SkyMed as Season 4 takes flight in the unforgiving Canadian North. This month also features the historical thriller Nuremberg, debuting May 6. Sports fans have a front row seat on May 10 for live Zuffa boxing. From the gritty law enforcement of Marshals, with the season finale streaming May 25th, to the weekly mysteries of From and the streaming debut of Bob Hart's Abishola on May 15th, Paramount Plus is delivering a powerhouse lineup of premium entertainment from start to finish. Now more with Murdoch superfans Jason Mewes and Matt Goehring. Guys, I got to tell you, I mean, I've been doing a podcast for about 7 years now, all on just television, Canadian television mainly, but lots of guests from the States and others. But the most listened to episode I've ever done, it was with Yannick Besson, and it was back during COVID, and he was very philosophical. He'd been riding his bike in the hills, in the Hollywood Hills, and he'd had some time to think, like all of us. And it was a fabulous episode. And my God, it just exploded. So I've had the good fortune, just anytime I talk to anybody on Murdoch Mysteries, it's a real well listened to episode. So just did Deb Drennan, the who does hair and makeup, makeup and everything.
Oh yeah,
I love Deb.
So it's bottomless in terms of guests that you could have on. Have you had Peter Mitchell on as a guest yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, Peter's the guy behind the stories, pretty good guy to get, but it's people really respond. People love the show, right? And so it's a smart thing to do to launch a podcast about Murdoch Mysteries. So congratulations.
No, that was the idea. That's again what the joke was. It was really like we were like, there's so many guests and content that you can do with 19 seasons. So I was like, man, it would be great to do a podcast because, and we even for the first one, we had a bunch of the people from the show this first season that we did, but we had a couple of our friends too, which made it fun and to really kick it off to be like, hey, can we turn our friends? Because we've been telling our friends, like one of the friends that we've gotten hooked on it is Jason Lee. We haven't gotten him a guest on the podcast. We're trying, but he was busy while we were shooting.
He'd be great.
But it was great because Matt and I saw him at a comic convention and we told him about it because we were like, hey, we're going to do this thing and we love it. You got to check it out. Next time we saw him, we're like, you got to check it out. And then finally the next time he saw us, he goes, I finally checked it out. Me and my wife are on season 8 already. I go, get out of here. And he's like, we watch 3 to 4 episodes every night after the kids are asleep. And he's like, we love it so much. So
Jason, here's what I'm curious about, because you mentioned that you were a fan of Matlock and Columbo, and these are shows I grew up with. I'm 20 years older. Where did you just watch reruns of these things? How did you get into those shows?
You know what? I got into my mom has passed now, but my mom was really sick and I was taking care of her back in 2000, like 99, 2000. She passed away, but I was taking care of her and we would sit and watch. She liked those shows. So me and her would sit and watch Matlock together and then Murdoch. And Murder, She Wrote on regular TV. There was reruns. There was definitely all reruns. They had the like hour where it was like two episodes of Murder, She Wrote and then 2 episodes of Matlock and then the Columbo and stuff. So I just sort of I started watching it with my mom and then I just kept watching it. I don't know if you're much older than me. People always think they're some guy in El Paso the other day. He's like, I got to be 20 years your senior. And I go, how old are you? He goes, 55. I go, bro, I'm 52.
Right. Well, I'm 68. So
68. Okay.
But
I thought you were going to say maybe 60, but I said
nice
58 and 68.
Let's go with 60. Yeah. Sure.
I like it. Yes.
And Matt, you were also a fan of these shows, the older hour-long detective dramas.
Oh yeah, I grew up with a knob TV that had 3 channels. So like the PBS, all the reruns, all the things that they would put on TV. That's what I was raised by those shows.
Yeah, me too. What's the advantage, guys, of 2 hosts, do you think? Like I do it just me talking to somebody, but I would think it would be great advantage to have the 2 of you, right?
For me, 100%, especially with the guests, because I know for me, even while we were filming, like there would be like we'd be talking to the guest and we had a sheet that had some questions, some things we wanted to ask, but there would be a few moments for each episode where they might ask something that I'm clueless about. And then Matt was able to be like, oh, I know what you're talking about, that thing. And so I really felt like it was for me, even though I've been doing entertainment, movies, and I do stand-up comedy and all this stuff, even podcasts with Kevin, for years, I still feel like I haven't done guests. Like Kevin and I talk to one another, right? And Kevin really leads the show, even though we've done 3 different shows together. I've done it with one person. We've never had guests on though. So I thought it was really, really useful for me because there would be times that I was clueless about something. And Matt was able to chime in because he knew about what that person was either talking about or asking. And so, that's where I think the big advantage was I feel like if the other one doesn't know something or there's a quick silence, the other one could chime in and be like, oh, well, you know what? Did have a question to ask you. Let me ask you this, So that happened a bunch. Matt was able to be like, after I ask a question, they'd answer me. And then there'd be a second of silence. And I'd be like, and Matt would be like, oh, how about this? So it was really useful.
It does seem to work. I'm jealous too. You guys have a neon sign. Come on.
To me, I feel like the benefit for me in having the 2 of us is that it's not just like when you have that first interaction with somebody that you've never spoken with, you have to build a rapport in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
As opposed to what Jason and I are doing, it's our friendship, and that vibe that we already have. It's just inviting somebody else to step into our friendship and talk about the silly things that we already are. We were gonna talk about those things anyway.
Right.
So now we get to invite somebody into that conversation.
I do think that's a great advantage because you guys are so into it. You love this show, and it just makes it easy for the listener to follow. So well done. And you mentioned Kevin Smith, of course, Jay and Silent Bob, the movies, the spin-offs, the animated, everything. You guys seem almost like you're scouts for Canadian television. Kevin, especially maybe, because you were sort of onto this secret stuff going on north of the border and introducing it down in the States, right?
Yeah. Oh no, we Kevin and I, same thing. It's funny because it is an interesting like Matt and I bonded more so over Murdoch, a Canadian show. Kevin and I, when we first met, I was like 14, he was 18. So we have a lot in common except for comics, but I would help him at the Quick Stop and we would sit and watch Degrassi. After we were done putting the newspapers together at the Quick Stop where Kevin worked, I just came to help him as a 14-year-old. He'd pay me $5. When we were done, he'd be like, hey, I have to wait to drive you home. We'll sit and watch this show that I love. And he introduced me to Degrassi. And years later, when the movies had come out, a couple of them, Kevin did an interview and talked about it, and they invited us to be on Degrassi. So then we got to be on a show that we watched together, which was awesome. And then Kevin was doing Q&As, and years later, I started doing Q&As at like the colleges in Canada, and I won a Coco Award for like Best Speaker of the Year or something like that. And I've actually won a Gemini too, which is very exciting for me. I've never won any awards in the States, but I've gotten a Gemini and a Coco Award in Canada. So
we have the Canadian Screen Awards, and they just give them out like hockey pucks or donuts. They're just so you should have 5 or 10 of those before this is over.
I hope
there's a million categories, so just tell them you're here. But I love your categories. Speaking of which, on the show, I think Victorian verbiage, Victorian red flags. Explain what that is. You actually have Paul Sun-Hyung Lee was the guest I saw trying to come up with the categories, but what's the thinking behind them?
So that's Matt. Like, again, for me, I feel like between Matt and Raz, they came up with these great games. Like Matt and I came up with, I was like, Matt, maybe we can play a game and we can do this. And we threw ideas off each other, but then him and Raz really came up with the Victorian verbiage and stuff. So I don't know, Matt, if you want to.
Yeah.
So honestly, Raz, our producer, and we just kind of bounced back and forth as far as what we wanted the podcast to be. Because originally, as Jason had mentioned, it was supposed to be just like a watch podcast, where like a watch along, where we break down an episode, and we kind of evolved that just over the course of a month and a half. And when we were talking about what we wanted it to be, we wanted it to be about our shared love of Murdoch. We also wanted it to be, an opportunity for our guests to kind of share the things that they love, so that we could talk about our love of Murdoch to the fans of Star Wars. With Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, like he's a huge Star Wars fan, so we wanted to talk about the things that they love. That way, we can talk about Murdoch while talking about the things that they love. And then we were going back and forth about what else we could do, and Jason had mentioned that we should do some games. He set us on the mission of creating games, and Raz and I had just kind of back and forth ideas, and it was like every time that I'd give Raz an idea or anybody at Shaftesbury an idea, Shaftesbury has this amazing ability, and I think it's probably Christina's environment that she's fostered with that company is any idea should be at least considered, no matter where it comes from. I've had the good fortune to spend time with her, even over in Cannes. They have the annual
television summit, and Christina works at like Sinatra at the Sands. Man, she goes down there and she sells Murdoch to 120 or more territories all around the world. Like, your podcast will be everywhere. She is really, really smart, and
she's incredible.
She is incredible. So I'm so glad you guys are under that umbrella there, because that's pretty good. And you also give a nod to Maureen Jennings, who wrote the books, right? Originally.
No, absolutely.
Yes.
This is like one of my prized possessions now.
Oh, cool. Signed by the author.
Yeah.
Yep,
oh, nice. Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. And just behind you, Matt, you've got, are those lanyards from going to different shows, to the conventions and things? Yeah.
I had never been to a comic convention prior to COVID. And now I've been to 100 maybe.
Yeah, just for people listening, it looks like Matt's room is wallpapered in lanyards.
It really is. Yeah.
From various
There's a lot
shows.
there, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yep. Yeah, good for you.
You got to count them one day, Matt. I'm really curious, because that's how many times we've traveled together. It's interesting. I didn't realize, looking at it, you're like, whoa.
It took me some time to even come up with the idea to start saving the lanyards, to be fair.
It's awesome. You guys, obviously, then you'll be going to these shows and meeting William Shatner and different people. Who was the most exciting celebrity encounter at Comic-Con that you guys have each had?
Oh, I've had it. Yeah, I one of my favorites, I think. I have a few, but definitely Vincent D'Onofrio.
Right.
Is like, I'm such a fan of Criminal Intent.
Yeah.
Of Law and Order. I've watched it. I'm not exaggerating. I've probably watched, there's 10 seasons. I've watched it like 4 times, 5 times through. But and then of course I love him as the Kingpin. Like, to see him on Criminal Intent, and years later he's on Daredevil as the Kingpin. He's so good too as the Kingpin. I love it. But I'm so intimidated by him. But I love it because thankfully I have this electric luggage scooter that I bring to con. Yeah. So it's my luggage. It's actually really cool. So you put my clothes and all my stuff, and I use it as a bag. But sometimes there's these long hallways to get to the next terminal,
right,
and you could pull the handle up, turn the battery on, and it becomes a little scooter that goes 8 miles an hour. So I ride it all over the con, and finally I seen Vince in at least 5, 6 different cons, and I've been, even in the green room, I've been standing next to him, but I'm so afraid to say hi to him. Finally, I'm driving my scooter around. He goes, "Wait." He goes, "I keep seeing you drive past me on this scooter." He goes, "What is it?" And I said, "It's my luggage." He goes, "Is it heavy?" And I said, "Nah, not that much." And he goes, "Can I lift it?" And he lifts it up. He goes, "That's pretty cool." And I was like, "Thank you so much." I was like, "It's so great meeting him." And he's like, "You too." And that was it, really. But that's one of my favorite. That, and then the Tom Welling situation. But Matt is so funny because we see Tom Welling all the time, Clark Kent, Smallville.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I tell Matt all the time, I'm like, "Oh my God, I love Smallville. I love this dude." But he's like, "Go say hi." I'm like, "No, I don't want to." So Matt was eating dinner at the hotel, and it just happens that Tom Welling sits next to him at the restaurant, and they start chatting. And he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And Matt's like, "Oh, I'm here with Jay Mewes." And he goes, "Oh, I love Jay Mewes." And Matt's like, "Oh my God, tomorrow you got to go up. He's been wanting to say hi to you, but he's afraid to say hi to you. So you got to go up and give him a big hug." So the next day, I swear, the next day I'm like in the green room. I'm about to make coffee, and all of a sudden I look over Tom Welling, and he comes up and he just hugs me. And I'm like, "Whoa!" And he's like, "Hey Jay, what's up?" And that scared the heck out of me. But I was so excited, but I was scared.
From my perspective, it was so funny because Tom looks at me and gives me this "Is this okay?" look. Like, should I do this? And I give him big thumbs up. And he sneaks up behind Jason, and you see Jason all tense when he gets picked up. He picks him up off the ground.
Yeah.
And Jay's all tense.
He's pretty tall, right,
and,
Tom?
Yeah, he's 6'2", 6'3". I mean, he's a big guy. And he picks Jason up, and as soon as Jay realizes it's him, he just kind of melts. Hi.
But guys, isn't this a series? I mean, it should be the scooter com through the Comic-Con with Jason Mewes. And,
right.
That would be a show. I think it'd be hilarious watching you guys working that stuff.
And it was not even on purpose. I just ride it around because I enjoy it. But I realize it really has. William Shatner has asked me about it. And you mentioned him. He asked me about it. Rosario Dawson asked me and then asked me if she could ride it. And after she wrote it, I saw her 2 Comic-Cons later and she had one. I kid you not. I swear she went out and got one.
That's hilarious. That is so funny.
Yeah, like there's definitely been like 5 other people, because when Matt and I go in the green room, even though I've been going to these for years, and I don't know, like when I walk in the green room, like, it'll be like William Shatner and like Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi and Tim, like they're all hanging out at a table talking and eating food and snacks. And I always just feel weird sitting down and being like, hey guys, what's up? So I go in the green room, I make my coffee and I leave. I'm always afraid to chat with people. But my scooter has like broken the ice for people, because they're all like, whoa, what are you doing with that? Let me see that, it's pretty cool.
Jason, you don't need to break the ice. It's like on your first episode with Yannick, he was like, dude, I was watching your stuff before you were watching mine, right? So
it's true. But it's so, I don't see that. It's really hard for me to see that over the years. People who are like, no, I watch your stuff. I'm like, no, I watch your stuff. It's a weird thing for me. So
it's funny you're mentioning Shatner. I met him on the set of Murdoch Mysteries. They brought me in. I was writing for the Toronto Sun, I think, at the time. And he was playing Mark Twain. He was a guest star, as you know.
Yeah,
and it was hilarious, though. But he put on a mustache, but no wig, right? He didn't really look like Mark Twain. He looked like William Shatner with a big mustache.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. It was really fun to talk to him on that set and spend some time with a guy who, believe it or not, he's like 95 now. He's been to outer space, right? It's pretty cool. Hey, don't go away. More with Jason and Matt in just a moment. Well, it's time once again to speak with Emily Gagne at Hollywood Suite. Emily, what do you got for us this month?
It's all about books on film this month, Bill. Wait a minute,
Emily. You mean that some of these films are based on books?
You are right.
Oh,
you
my
heard
goodness.
that right.
Wow.
Yeah, we're talking, Fight Club, Pride and Prejudice, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, It, The Wiz, Cape Fear, the 90s one.
Emily, if you're reading a book called Fight Club, what is it? Just go, and then you hit him with the left, and then hit him with the right. For like 800 pages?
Well, you'll just have to watch to find out.
All right, we'll check it out. What's your favorite all-time film based on a book?
I don't think you can beat To Kill a Mockingbird.
Great choice. Gregory Peck, classic, very good. I think I like The Little Engine That Could, which was one of those little books you got when you were 4. I don't think that's a film, though, Emily.
I was going to say, what film is that, Bill?
It's probably not a film. Anyway, you've got real films based on books at Hollywood Suite. How much does it cost?
Just $6 a month most places.
That's crazy. You can't even buy a book for that.
No, you can't. I actually was at a bookstore yesterday and it cost me more than $6.
See? Okay, Hollywood Suite, $6, 100% Canadian. Emily, thanks again.
Thanks, Bill.
And we're back. Who have you not had on as a guest that you're really, really hoping to bring on for Murdoch Mysteries?
Jason Lee.
Yeah,
Jason Lee, definitely. I feel like by the time, hopefully, we get that second season, and by then, I feel like Lee will have been caught up. So I feel like Lee is definitely one we've been thinking about. That's not on the show. He would be great. I mean,
Johnny Harris. Johnny Harris would be the coolest for me, because Crabtree, as far back as I can remember in the show, has been my favorite character.
Yeah, I'm always surprised there wasn't a spinoff just with him. You could still do it, but I don't know if you've caught his stand-up show, Still Standing. He goes across Canada to small towns that are struggling and brings them some laughter and joy. And I just did a podcast with him last December, and lovely guy. In fact, when they asked me to do a little scene and they gave me a few lines, I was a train ticket master at a train station. You know, they shoot at location in all these places. And I had the scene with Johnny Harris. Thank God, because the director, Sharon, she switched all the lines at the last minute. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. You know? Yeah. but Johnny was there and calmed me down, and we did the little bit, and it was so much fun. But yeah, you definitely need to get Johnny on your show.
Yeah,
cool.
He's been our the one we really want to get that from the show, and then Jason Lee, who someone who's watched the show, who we'd love to have on that's not on the show. So
what about Kevin Smith?
You know, Kevin, I've been telling Kevin, and he's been hearing about Matt and I. Even when we were just in El Paso, we're like, oh, we're excited. Every time we see Kevin, him and I are talking about Murdoch. It's so funny. We're filming something. We're doing a social media thing because the new episode Monday for May the 4th. So Matt and I did a little bit to throw up to be like, hey, today's the new episode. Check it out. And I got Kevin in it. Kevin's like, what's this for? I'm like, Murdoch. He goes, oh, Murdoch. Okay. So I've been trying to get him to watch it, but I would love to get him on because I bet he would have lots to say. Even if he didn't watch it, he'll be like, listen, these two guys have been talking about this show, because Kevin will always fly. Matt and I usually go for all 3 days of the conventions. Kevin will fly in just for a Saturday, one day. So we'll see Kevin that Saturday for maybe 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there for the photo ops and for this. And we're just always talking about Murdoch. So I'm sure he would be like, look, every time I only see them once a weekend for about 30 minutes total, and all they're doing is talking Murdoch or about photo ops, So
they should throw him in a jail cell at the background or something. And
it would be great. Yeah. You know what? I think it would be great. It would be great to have him on, because I feel like if he was going to be on, I think he would love it. Yeah. But I think he's always he's just oh, right now his thing is he's watching, he told me he's in the body cam footage for police. Wow. He said he loves watching the videos. That's his happy place right now.
Wow, that's hilarious.
It really is. It really is a funny thing.
That is funny.
That and The Pit. He got me to watch The Pit, which is a pretty great show.
It's pretty addictive, right? Yeah.
It really is.
That whole 1 hour a day, each hour going by, it really is pretty good.
It is good, because I enjoy that it's different than it's not like the Grey's Anatomy, and again, I like that. I didn't mind watching that when it started with my wife and stuff, but I'm just saying there's something different about it that really is intense, and I dig it. So he told me about it. I'm like, I want to check it out and see if I like it. And after I started watching a few episodes and told him I liked it so much, I'm like, you got to watch Murdoch now. So we'll see. I'm gonna mention it. I think I'm gonna see him today. We're doing a collab with I don't know. I guess no, I won't mention that right now.
Oh, okay.
But him and I have something else that's coming out. Only because of the
All right. No. Listen,
it's family friendly here. So.
Okay. We'll follow up and get the rest of the story.
Yes, 100%.
For sure. And I'm just quickly curious. You mentioned these other shows you were fans of that I was surprised at. And I don't really watch The Pit as much. My wife loves it, watched every single minute. But I was that way with ER, and I just felt I'd sort of seen that hospital stuff, and it was really well done then. Did you watch Hill Street Blues, ER, shows like that as well?
I didn't. I didn't watch ER or any of the shows like that back then. Now I do watch, I'm really digging right now 911. Yeah. There's 911 Nashville, 911 Lone Star.
Right.
So I've been watching those. Huge fan of Law and Order, like I said, but I like CSI, Miami, Vegas, all of that. I like the FBI show. I'm a big fan of all the, the TV. It's I like those type of show, the drama. I guess it's crime drama. Yeah. Someone told me another name, because the other shows that I really love, two of my favorite shows recently is, sorry, I'm getting I don't know how to shut off my texts and they keep interfering. No problem. Is Monk and Psych.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Which is so funny because I know they're older, but I just started watching those, and I felt, and those again, that's from another friend of ours named Jake Rubel. Him and I do stand up comedy together, but he's someone who kept saying, "You have to watch Psych. You have to watch Psych." And I go on these missions where, like, after I was done watching Murdoch, I'm like, I need more of this. So then we watched then I have to I just feel like I get in the zone of like that type of show. So then I started looking for other shows, and then I was like, all right, I'll go back and watch Law and Order, and then I'll watch the Sherlock series. And then when I was watching Psych, when I was done with all 8 seasons or 7, I was like, man, I need something like this, so then I went back and watched Monk. So Monk's so good.
Yes, Monk, Tony Shalhoub, right? He's just makes it just that guy so fantastic. And just finally, Jason, you mentioned another something I read that you kind of compared Murdoch Mysteries to Sherlock Holmes meets Doc Brown. And I thought that was really interesting. Just explain what you mean by that. Is that because he has all these crazy inventions and, his detective work is really kind of scientific at times, right?
I definitely think, sorry, I don't.
Oh, was it something I said, Matt?
I think we've lost him.
We've lost Jason.
Jason, come back.
I mentioned Doc Brown, and he went into another dimension. Oh well. Hopefully, we'll give him a minute to come back here. You guys have been very generous with your time. Thank you very much.
No, I mean, thank you for having us and letting us talk about this thing that we love so much.
Where are you based, Matt?
I'm in Northern California.
You are in Northern California. That's very cool. It's lovely up there. Yeah, what's that town where all the houses look like they were brightly painted Victorian? Goodness gracious, I can't remember it. I was there, but I can't remember the name of it, so never mind. I think we got Jason back. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm telling you, I'm trying to put do not disturb. This is why I have to get my computer. I got to figure out my Zoom for anyway. But yes, exactly what you said, and I think the inventions are Doc Brownie, and then of course Sherlock. To me, he deduces everything, and I feel like that's really how Murdoch is, right? He takes something and he starts to write it down on this chalkboard and deduce what's going on and stuff. And in the 1900s too. At first, I was like, when Matt was like, it's set in the 1890s, 1900s. I didn't think I honestly would dig it. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch. I don't know if I'll like the vibe, but I love it so much, and it makes me really want to go back during. While we're watching things happen historical, that I'm like, wow, I wonder if that really happened. Like Matt and I all the time, and I'm like, do you think that really happened? They're like, well, actually, I looked it up and it did happen. Stuff like that. It's what is so appealing to me.
Well, it is amazing, when they have an episode about an electric car in 1908, and you think, well, that can't have been, but it was absolutely true. You're right. A lot of the stuff. One of my favorite episodes is when they bring Charlie Chaplin and Stan Laurel, right?
Yep.
Oh my God, yes.
And we're talking about Johnny Horton was playing, I think, Chaplin, or maybe it was Stan Laurel. That was just so fun, right? It was just so out of left field. But that was true, too. They actually were in Toronto in 1910, that they were part of a traveling British troupe, and it does sort of check out. So it's cool.
I called Matt. When I watched that, I called Matt and said, do you think that was true? Because then I was also like, do you think, where was Hardy? Was he with Hardy? I guess he didn't meet Hardy for another 20 years or something, right? Or so, I don't know.
1926 is when I collect old film, and I got Laurel and Hardy did a film in 1926, and then a few months later they were teamed as a comedy team. But they didn't know each other. Stan Laurel was sort of a understudy for Chaplin. That was part of the Murdoch episode, which was brilliant. I thought Peter Mitchell does a great job pulling history into the show.
Oh yeah, I mean the very first episode, Power, from season 1. With the Tesla Edison rivalry,
amazing, right?
It is amazing how much history they throw into the show.
Yeah, you guys have a great advantage. I mean, I've watched the show over the years. To have binged it for 18 seasons, that's a trip. To have that show in your head over that time, that's a whole other way of. No wonder you're a super fan, because I can't imagine digesting that whole show in one 300 episode gulp, right?
Oh yeah, but I feel like
It was the best.
Yeah, it really is.
It really
because
was.
for me, I get what Game of Thrones is a show that again love, but I would. It's so hard to wait, but I want to wait because when something, and again, it's not the same for that. Some shows, there's a cliffhanger and then you got to wait, which is even worse. Yeah. But I love just like, if I like something, I'm like, oh, I need to see more. So it was nice to not find it until later. So then I could it wasn't, and I'm also so glad that it's still going as of right now because it's such a bummer to find a show that is like 2 seasons and you're like, this show is so awesome. And then I'm like, when does the next season come out? Well, like it's not coming out. And I'm like, wait, what? Why not? This show is great. That happens a lot. It's such a bummer. So it's great that not only I was able to binge it, there's so many seasons I got to binge, but it's hopefully I continue to keep I get to watch more. Like I'm almost glad that I haven't watched any of season 19 yet because, it's not here. It wasn't here.
Right.
So I'm almost happy because if it aired each week, it'd be hard not to watch it, but I get to wait and now binge watch the whole season 19.
What's the most number of episodes you watched at one sitting?
Oh, I honestly would say I've definitely watched a full season in a sitting. But again, This is me me waking up and like watching a few episodes and then flying somewhere. So I'm at the airport and then watching an episode, then I'm on the plane and I'm sitting and watching an episode, and then landing. I would say look, that's 24 hours. So maybe it's less than 24 hours, but I want to say, because not all of them, I'm thinking like one of the seasons that are like 15. So I would say like 13 episodes, I would say. Because that's a little like the 13 to 15 episode season. There was a couple seasons like that. Yeah, I couldn't watch a whole 24 because that's 24 hours. But I know that from waking up and went on a long travel day, I burned through one of the seasons before.
That's great.
So which again is great. It's great. And then it's not like, oh man, I'm done now. It's like, yeah, I get to see more.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much. Speaking, of course, with Jason Mewes and Matt Goehring, and they are the hosts of the Murdoch Mystery Podcast. How often how do you do episodes? Are they
weekly release on Mondays?
On Mondays, right? So once a week. And so check them out. This is honestly the most well-produced. It's just a joy to watch and listen to. I'm jealous about the watch part because it's hard to do that right. So you guys have a great team behind you, and the two of you as hosts are working really well. So continue having fun. Thank you for the time, being so generous with your time today, and looking forward to seeing more podcast episodes next season.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Well, thanks to Jason and Matt for all the fun on this episode, and check out their Murdoch Mysteries podcast. You can find it wherever podcasts are heard, and is also as part of the CBC Podcast Network. Thanks to producer Phil Hong, the silent Bob of this enterprise. Thanks to our house band, the Crispy Critters, led by BJ Del Conte, Paul Boudra, and joined on piano by Stephen Dudley. Finally, thanks to you, listener. If you liked what you heard, please spread the word. I'm Bill Brio. Thanks for listening.